All right, so our objective is to create sheets for our floor plans, right? So we have these views that exist in space somewhere in our model, but they're not really a product yet. Right now it's just this digital thing that exists ethereally in this electronic box that we call a computer, right? So we need to actually create our product, which is a printout of a representation of that model or vision. The way that the Revit browser breaks it down is you have views, which is what we've been working on, and then we have sheets. Sheets are another sort of subsegment. So like basically I can collapse these views, and we have views, legends, schedules, and sheets. Right-click on sheets and click on New Sheet. You can save if you need to. So what we have here is one preloaded sheet, and that's fine. We'll work with that for now. It's the E1 30 by 42 horizontal format sheet. That's a full-size architectural document sheet. So just hit OK. We'll look at it for now. In case you guys missed that, go to Sheets, right-click it, and click on New Sheets, or New Sheet. All right. Do me a favor and expand that. Like click the little plus or the little plus button next to the Sheets All thing. What I want you guys to pay attention to is the fact that views and sheets are basically like you place views as objects on a sheet, right? It's similar to a viewport in AutoCAD. So all you have to do is just open up your views panel and then grab whatever view you want to place on that sheet. So you just click and drag and drop it on the sheet, and it'll get placed. Sure. Delete. So just grab the view you want, click it, drag it, put it on the sheet.
Oh, sick. I like it, Devin.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, huh? Okay, so we're gonna do some like custom formatting and stuff at some point, but right now we're gonna use the default title block, and we're just gonna put some simple parameters in there so that you understand how a title block family operates. First, let's take a look at if you don't click anything. So hit escape a couple times. There's nothing selected. I want you to pay attention to what's happening on the left-hand side. What you have is under identity data, you'll have approved by, designed by, checked by, drawn by. Those are all, I mean, generally in our office we tend to neglect those, but they're just information boxes that get put on your title block so that somebody knows who drew it and who checked it. Those figures happen here. So we have author, checker, the date. There was other information in there that should show up somewhere. But anyway, those take the form of labels that are programmed into the family, right? It's like a smart text that will read a parameter from the family in your Revit project. And we're going to make some of those at some point, but we're just going to modify them now. But I want you to just kind of pay attention to the fact that when you say drawn by, and we're going to use this because your product for me is going to be a PDF of your plan, and that's how I'm going to know it's yours. You can actually click your title block and then click in that box, and it's going to activate that. So that's what's cool about labels. It just kind of activates it, and you can change it and type into it. So for this one, I'm going to say Kevin G. I would like you to write out your name, but don't be confused when you get into an office and all it says is KG, because usually a lot of people work on these, so they'll be like KG, AD, JW, you know, whatever. So anyway, so all right, so Kevin G, right? So this plan is drawn by me. Don't worry about checker. You can do an issue date, like for what date you submit it. For us, this one's going to be on Tuesday next week. So let's double check what day of the week that is. That's going to be March 20th, 2018. So I'm going to do 03/20/2018. And then project number, I'd like you guys to put in the assignment number, which for us is going to be assignment 1. So we'll just say 001. And I put 2 leading zeros because I anticipate definitely more than 100 assignments turned in from every single one of you.
Is it checker, Kevin?
What's that?
Check 5?
If you want to, sure. Yeah, you can put in Kevin G on the checker. Okay, so I do want to point out just a couple other things. So there are fields that are on here for owner, project name, unnamed. Unnamed is for the sheet. So let's change this sheet, and we're going to call it first floor schematic floor plan. What? That doesn't work. Let's just do schematic plan. That is really large text. That'll work. First floor schematic plan.
Hell yeah.
All right. Now, divert your eyes back to the properties menu and scroll down and look at all that information. It all just showed up in the properties menu. Okay, so you guys are familiar with the fact that there are parameters and things now. You've been working with a few of them in your objects, like walls and stuff. So those objects are families. A title block acts as a family as well. So it has parameters, and those parameters we just modified right there on the object itself. Even though it's text, it's a label. Labels can be assigned to parameters. Clear as mud?
It's clear as mud.
All right. Cool. So the other thing that I want to point out is, like, yeah, we could go into the owner box and change that, but at the same time, if you go to manage, there are these things, and at some point I'll probably introduce the difference between like project parameters, shared parameters, and global, all this other stuff. But these are all different types of information that you can use to manage like all the back-end information in a project. But the one I want to point out is project information. Project information is where you put kind of the fundamental stuff that is just kind of like inherent to your project. Like when you start a project, generally speaking, you have all of this information. So you start your new project, you go and put your owner in, you put a building address, all this other stuff. So owner, we're going to say Mount Sac. Project address, don't worry about it. Just say Arcadia. Oh, you have to click this little thing. So we're just going to say Arcadia, California. Click. You have to click that little button on the right-hand side for project address.
No, I just somehow ended up with brand new shit.
Oh, did you hit enter? Because it'll redo the command to create a sheet. Don't worry about it. Just go back to your old sheet and just close that sheet. And double if the view's not open, just double click your first sheet. Cool. All right. So project name, just put residence. Project number's already on there. Project status, just put schematic. Schematic. Or SD, schematic design, if you wanted to. I'm just showing you this as so that you guys can simulate creating like a set of drawings. All right, so we're going to hit OK, and you're going to notice that this changed to Mount Sac. I don't know why it says Mount Sac residence. That's funny. All right, so I guess it's the dean's residence. Well, yeah, no, I know. It just looks funny because it's like you have the owner and then you have the project title. That seems weird to me. Usually you put the owner next to the location or something. Okay, so guys, the last thing I want you to do is calibrate the floor plan scale to the actual sheet. And then I'm gonna show you how to crop down the view so only certain things show. So right now the floor plan scale is a little small. I do want to point out that if you go to your first floor plan, right, you guys are familiar with the fact that you can change the view scale here in the top left corner. I think some of you have messed around with that so far, and I showed you earlier today. However, I do also want to point out that even if I don't have that view open, and the only thing I have open is the sheet, I can change the view scale right there on the sheet. I don't even have to activate the view. I can just select the view, and change it to say 1/4 inch. Okay, and then I want to point this out as well. This particular title block has a scale feature on it where it reads the scale of whatever view is on there. So that's kind of nifty. It's, I don't know, but we generally don't, because you usually wind up having multiple scale views on a sheet in the real world, I guess.
Multiple, does it automatically change into like as displayed or whatever?
You know, I don't know. Hang on, let me drop level 2 on there and see what it does.
Can you show it again?
As indicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so what I want you guys to do is we're going to learn a little bit about the, well, yeah, I'm trying to decide if I want to close the viewport thing up in this video or just do a separate video. I'll do a separate video for that. Okay. All right. So what we've done here in this video is we established a title block and we changed some of the parameters and we put a sheet on or a view on our title block. What questions do you have?
Can you automatically somehow center the plan? on the sheet?
All right, the question was, can you center the plan? Not automatically, no.
All right.
There are guide grids that you can turn on. If you scroll down, there's this thing right here called guide grids. You need to like program them in. I forget exactly how to turn them on. I never use them, but
Okay.
yeah. Yes.
What if, for the scaling, it's blocked, so you can't change it?
I'll take a look. I don't know why it would do that off the top of my head.
Oh,